Hi, this is Dr. Darnise, and I am back to bring you another installment of my magical series, Magic, Conjure, and Hoodoo. I've been getting quite a lot of interest in this subject, so I'm just bringing you more of what you appear to want. And so I'm happy to do that. So today's video is about the Book of Shadows, or Grimoire. You may also hear the term Grimoire. So this is my Book of Shadows. Um, I like to call it my book of intentions and magical notes. Actually, most people call it a book of shadows. I call it intentions and magical notes because it's just that. So, what is a book of shadows? It is a notebook, normally a leather bound um, book. It doesn't have to be anything special, but oftentimes it's a leather bound book with, and here's some blank pages in it, um, just parchment type of paper. There's nothing there. There's stuff in the beginning of it. My own notes, as I said, of things that I keep in here, which I won't be sharing here. Or maybe I will another time. But for the purpose of this video, I really just wanted to talk about what is a book of shadows and how it's used. So the tradition, it's a place where people who were called witches or healers would put their notes, their information on what works and what doesn't work. Because, as I've talked about many times, the universe is alive with various elements for our living. And as we know, the herbs and the grasses, the plant life of this planet have medicinal uses, have multitudes of uses. And yes, they are magical in the sense that if you know how to use them, then they can heal you. They can harm you. Yes, they can cause a hallucinogenic effect, just depending on what kind of plant it is. And, I like to remind people they're not evil. Like the plant itself is not evil. If a plant is poisonous, don't use it, right? But that plant has a purpose for something else, or it's not poisonous to something else, to some other animal who maybe relies on it. Anyway, my point is that the energies of the universe, the plant life, is neutral energy. How you use it, now that's a different story. Do you use it to heal? Do you use it to make a colicky baby feel better? Do you use it for your migraine headaches, for your menstrual cramps? Or do you use it because you want to make someone sick? That part is up to you. That's the part where you have to check yourself and say, how am I using things? So again, back to the grimoire in particular. So this is a book that healers would use to keep track of what works and what doesn't work. Because, to some degree, it can be trial and error. Now, where we stand in our point in history, a lot of things we know scientifically, a lot of things we can verify scientifically in terms of the properties of plants and how much is a good dose for, the curing of your headache, let's say. But, indigenous people didn't have that. People, throughout history did not have that. There are things on this planet we don't yet know the uses for. And at some point in the future, we will know, human beings will know what is a good use for those things. We just don't know yet. So until then, it's kind of trial and error, right? We're just used to those kind of trials and error being in a laboratory. Prior to the laboratory, however, you had people practicing hoodoo. You had African American people in the American South practicing hoodoo, meaning they had some remnants of African tradition. They remembered that certain herbs do certain things, and then they had to work with the environment they had here in the United States. So it became a trial and error once again. If I pick this herb, pick this grass, if I boil a tea and make this, what will happen? I think this is what happens. So where do you put that? You put that in your book. And you say, you know what? I picked this plant, and you might draw a picture of the plant. And I boiled it, and drank it, or gave it to someone else. It seemed to soothe them. It seemed to make them better. Or actually, this one made this person sick. That was too much of this. Oh, this is a very bitter root. I learned to add some cinnamon because it's so bitter. That's the kind of thing you would keep in your book of shadows. You would keep any sort of record of that. I've been doing some videos on the stones, right, on the gemstones. You would keep record of the different gemstones and different minerals that you find. You'd keep a record of that. Maybe draw a picture. Maybe take them in. Like I've got some pictures of things that I've well, basically just printed from the internet, for example. So I've just, you know, printed that out and pasted it in here. This happens to be a picture of Oya, one of the African Loa, one of the African deities, Oya. And I wrote, some stuff about her here. And, she's one of the deities that I appreciate learning about her. Um, anyway, yeah, so this one, the first page of it is my book of light and personal intention. There. And you can't really see that. But again, it's kind of private what's in here and what all I'm learning as I go, because I learn from multiple traditions. I'm a scholar, I've said before. I teach religion, and I teach African traditional religions. I teach African American religions. And so I'm always learning from the traditions of people all over, the African people around the diaspora, whether it's Afro-Brazilian, Afro-Cuban, Afro-Haitian, wherever it is. I'm really interested in that because I'm interested in tracing the African, or what we might be able to call the African that we see in different parts of the world, and how people of African descent have retained something of our heritage and integrated it and combined it, syncretized it in new environments. Because when you're in the United States, or when you're in Haiti, or when you're in Brazil, you have different elements around you, different plant life. And so the traditions changed a bit to accommodate where people were in the world. So right now, now that I'm mentioning this, I have a book I'm reading from a colleague of mine, Kelly Hayes. This is called Holy Harlots, Femininity, Sexuality, and Black Magic in Brazil. And really, the reason that I even mention it, because I'm not getting any sort of kickback or anything from Dr. Hayes, is because that's part of the research I'm doing right now, is on a particular Afro-Brazilian tradition, and Kelly Hayes is a leading scholar in the area of Afro-Brazilian religions. Why do I do it? I'm interested in that. I have a PhD in religion. I'm interested in the religions of African people around the world. So I continue to find out more and more information. I continue to keep track of it. Yes, I write for the academic world, but I also keep track of my own insights, is really what I would say here. In my particular book of shadows, this is my book of insights and intentions. So it's kind of a guiding force for me. And when I come across interesting quotes, I put them in here. I've got pictures, as I said, of Oya, but also pictures of other feminine deities or energies that I am learning about. And so as I learn about them and find them particularly interesting, I will, make a copy of it out of a book or print it from the internet and put it in my book of shadows. And so it's a way of collecting things that you are interested in, that you want to return to. It can become sort of a prayer book if you wanted it to be that, a book of inspiration if you wanted it to be that. It could be, if you're interested in the different gemstones as I talk about them, that might be where you write notes as you watch my video, for example. And like, oh, she said this stone was good for this, this stone was good for that. You might write it in, someplace where you're keeping all that in one place. Oh, I did learn that this root is good for that. This leaf is good for that. I did learn that, this is what happens at the full moon, or this is what an eclipse is. So there's all kinds of things that a person might want to keep track of as you learn it, particularly for people who are new, learning about these African religions, learning about conjure and hoodoo. And, where do you keep all that? You can't keep it in your head, really. Not really. You could just have a spiral notebook. Again, it doesn't have to be special. Some people get really big, beautiful, leather bound um, books that they spend hundreds of dollars on. And if that's what you want, fine, because some of them really are beautiful. And then they're very, I guess I'll say, precious about how they handle it and what they write in it. And they want it to be perfect. Then our perfectionism gets involved, and we're like, oh, I don't want to make a mistake. I want to make sure I write this in perfectly. But to me, that's not what it is. It's not what it's about. It should show your experimentation. It should be a little bit messy because you're figuring things out as you go. You're learning. And so just like in anything that you're learning, it's not going to be perfect right away, or if ever. So as you go, you learn, and you go, oh, you know what? I misunderstood that. Cross it out and keep going. Or, if you spill something, you have drinking some water or something, and you spill something, it's okay. I mean, some people are like, oh no, I don't. I have to keep it someplace extra special and only take it out, and you know, for very particular things. Okay, if you want it to be sacred to you like that, I'm not going to knock that, but I'm just going to say that it's meant to be used. It's meant to be, um, written in and crossed out, and look again at it and say, oh, this is right, or this was wrong, or whatever, whatever you're coming up with. So it's a book meant to be used. It's a place to collect the things that you're learning, particularly about your spiritual practice. So that's it for now. Video's getting a little long. So I will be back soon with another video, another topic. And as always, leave me a comment. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And let me know what else you'd like to know about. Until then, bye for now.